Your child will get more grades in more areas, but instead of letters, you'll see numbers. Standards-based grading using a 1 to 4 number scale with a grade of 3, meaning your child has met standards in a particular subject area. In presentations to parents on standards grading, instruction coaches Frankie Indalecio and Chris Leon Guerrero used the analogy of riding a bike.
The standard is Chris will be able to ride a bicycle around the parking lot 3 times, right, without crashing. So that's your standard. If you're able to ride the bicycle around the parking lot 3 times, then you've achieved the standard. You're a level 3. What would a level 4 look like? A level 4 could be they're able to do tricks on the bike. They're able to exceed the expectations of the standard that was given. A level 2 might be the student is still struggling with riding the bike without any assistance, so perhaps they're using training wheels.
While some teachers already use standards-based grading report cards for public school students are officially on the letter grade system, GDOE officials say switching to standards-based helps them figure out specific trouble areas students struggle with. That in turn can sharpen the focus of the department so it knows what content and what subjects need attention for ACT Aspire testing. Although the number system of grading is being implemented in many school districts nationwide, getting stakeholders on board hasn't exactly been easy.
When you've been doing something the same way for so long, I mean, even while we were growing up as students, we grew up under percentage style grading, and to move into this is, but we're getting a lot of positive feedback, but it's still a learning process.
But the department is confident that the evidence shows standards-based systems provide a more detailed assessment of student performance and achievement than the old-fashioned percentage letter grades.
The idea behind that is to provide a platform that is really clear for students. We want students to be able to clearly understand what is expected of them and what steps they need to take to reach levels of mastery. And this can be applied to all grade levels and in all content areas.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the department is meeting with parents of elementary and middle school students to prep them for the standards grading rollout next school year. And Indalecio said the system won't be applied to high schools until middle school students have had a chance to get acclimated to the new grading. For KUAM News Network, Chris Barnett reports.
Thank you, Chris. The last day to register to vote in the Zona special election is March 18th. Residents of the village can register to vote at the Guam Election Commission offices in Hagåtña from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. 7 candidates, 6 Democrats, and 1 Republican will be on the ballot for the mayoral vote, which will fill the vacancy created by jailed former Mayor Jesse Bloss. March 18th is also the deadline for candidates to submit their preliminary campaign finance fundraising and expenditure reports. GEC officials tell KUAM in-office and homeband absentee voting starts on March 23rd. And a week-long workshop recently wrapped up in which a total of 28 participants earned a certificate in competency in wildland fire origin and cause determination training. Joan Agan-Charfris has more.
Last week, 3 international experts in wildfire investigation were on island, teaching representatives from the Guam Fire Department, Department of Agriculture's conservation officers and Forestry Division, Navy Fire, Anderson Fire, and even the Guam Police Department how to identify the causes and sources of wildland fires. The training was supported by a USDA Forest Service Fire Assistance Grant and is an important step in efforts to prosecute arson on island. One of the participants was Tech Sergeant Gregory Francois, a station captain for Anderson Fire.
Wildland is something that's very prominent out here, obviously, in Guam. And just to have a different perspective and in-depth training, so to speak, especially from an organization that's internationally accepted, it's one of the things I wanted to get in on, just to get that information, that knowledge.
Battalion Chief Ron Castro and Lieutenant Phil Camacho are with GFD Fire Prevention Bureau, and they say they do structural investigations and haven't really done wildfire investigations.
So this training really helped us to gain that knowledge that we need to look at clues to determine origin and cause, or at least to get to the area of origin. So it's a very, very good training, and it was an eye-opener, and there's a lot of things in there that we didn't know about that really helped us.
As an operator, you go out and you put out the grass fire. And then you go home. We go back to the
And we
station.
trample all over the
Trample
evidence.
all over the evidence because we didn't know better.
Spearheading the training was Richard Woods, an Australian career wildfire investigator and lecturer with Charles Sturt University in Australia, along with 2 Canadian wildfire investigators, Ken Ness and Jeff Henricks.
They're pretty much like the pioneers of creating this investigation program and courses that are offered now.
With several different partners attending the course, it made sense why they all needed to be there.
It cannot be done with just one person, nor just one agency. It's a collaboration of different agencies, different fields. You know, you need somebody from the legal side. You need somebody from the police side. You know, you need somebody from the fire. So having these different agencies in that training was a testament that we've got a good working relationship with the different agencies, and we just need to carry that on and make it work.
The training consisted of classroom, lecture, and on-the-field instruction. Both Francois and Camacho appreciated the opportunity to go out to the burn sites and put what they learned in class to work.
In my opinion, was the greatest part of this whole experience, because we're able to get the material and then go out in the field and actually see how it applies. And these instructors are very experienced. They're very experienced. So some of the practicals they threw at us, some of the scenarios they gave us, it was quite difficult for us, but when you kind of brought them aside and you kind of try to inquire further, like how do you read some of these indicators that they were telling us in the lectures, and then they just come down to the ground level and they'll like show us some of this stuff. So to me, that was one of the exciting things, like, wow, this stuff actually really works.
To actually see that they weren't making this stuff up, just because we actually saw the patterns and we actually saw what was going on with the little burn sites. And applying what you learned out in the field, it works.
Following the completion of training, a wildland fire investigation committee was formed during the Wildland Fire Prevention Policy and Investigation Workshop. The workshop ensured the establishment of the standard operating procedures for Guam's wildland fire investigation response. Partners from GFD, Navy Fire, GPD, and Department of Agriculture attended, along with representatives from Speaker Tina Munoz Barnes and Senator Sabina Perez's offices. Christine Farron, Fire Program Manager for the Department of Agriculture's Forestry and Soil Resources Division.
If everyone can do their part, you see something, you say something. It takes everyone on this island doing their part. If you see something suspicious, report it, call 911 and make that report happen so that we can get the conservation officers or the police department out there, because they're coming to our investigation training. This is showing you how serious we are all taking this, and we need you to help us out with that.
Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Jonagan Charfris.
Joan adds that Senator Perez, Speaker Barnes, along with Senator Clint Rigel, just introduced a bill which seeks to add the burning of forest land as an additional prohibited action under Guam's arson statute. The bill aims to address serious wildfires which pose a threat to the life, homes, businesses, and property of the people of Guam, in addition to wildlife and environment. And 40 years is a long time, but for lots of folks, good memories can make it seem like no time at all. A former Guam school teacher and a college exchange student from Japan reunited for the first time in 4 decades. And Nestor Locanto was there to record the reunion.
Goring Duenas was a young school teacher back in 1980 and volunteered to be a host in a week-long homestay program organized by GBB. His assigned guest was a young college student, Takahiko Ino, from Chiba University, who was on his very first trip to Guam. We caught up with the two on their visit to the Valley of the Lati.
40 years ago, yes, good memory is sightseeing to Lovers Point at Inarahan Natural Pool. I remember, I know that Lati Stone. He bring me many spots.
What do you remember about Goring?
Very kind, my brother. I think my brother.
Ino says throughout the years he's thought a lot about his gracious Guam host, and in the back of his mind had hoped someday to reconnect.
At that time he was a student, and you get involved with so many things you don't recall. And so when we finally connected, he was trying his hardest to try to get in touch with me throughout the whole 40 years that he left. And then when we finally connected, I couldn't even think of who he was or is, kind of thing, until that week that we connected, I started asking him questions, may I see a picture of you? Because 40 years, that's a long time to recall, and I've got myself involved with other students.
A friend of Goring's had recently traveled to Japan, and he knew someone who knew Eno who asked about Goring, and in a reflection of the times, they first reconnected by Facebook. Then they eventually planned a reunion back in Guam so they could catch up in person after 40 years.
Well, the changes that has happened throughout the years and the help we get from, visitors like him coming to our island and helping our island out. And our local people and the people of Guam extending that hospitality of welcoming our guests to our beautiful island. Guam is a treasure, and we need to share that treasure throughout the whole world.
Takahiko-san has fallen in love with Guam all over again, and despite the coronavirus, he wanted to encourage his countrymen to continue to come here.
日本の皆さん、どうぞガムに来てください。ガムはまだ感染者も出てませんので、とてもいいところです。よろしくお願いします。Thank you.
Domo arigato, Takahiko-san. For Guam's News Network, I'm Nestor Lecanto.
Stay tuned. Next on Weekend Edition, we have trend spotting, and still to come, the Guam Crime Stoppers report.
Get up-to-the-minute news, plus access to alerts, streaming radio, promotions, and more on your mobile device by downloading the KUAM News mobile app, available at the App Store now. Green Energy Solutions, Inc. would like to congratulate GU Self-Storage along with Calvo Enterprises in doing their part by going green with a monthly power reduction by over 80%. Power consumption before installation was 39,700 kilowatt hours. After installation ended in 6,221 kilowatt hours, which resulted in savings over $10,000 a month. GESI also offers LED lights, solar thermal VRF air conditioning, and solar photovoltaics. Visit our website and let us help you save.
Half the day, I'm in the club.
Half a day, welcome to Two Lovers Point.
Half a day, I'm in the club.
With thermal scanning now at Guam International Airport to a riot here in Tumon, here's what's coming up next on Trend Spotting. Hop it everyone, I'm Cami Aguirola and welcome back to another episode of Trend Spotting. Here are the topics that had you talking this week. A whirlwind of events have occurred over the past week as Guam now has 4 confirmed persons under investigation for coronavirus. In a special Ahead of the Spread podcast, KUAM's Sabrina Salas Matanani talked with former head of the Joint Information Center during the Camacho Moylan and Camacho Cruz administrations, Sean Gumatau. He also helped write Guam's pandemic response plan in 2010. She also spoke with President of the Guam Medical Association, Dr. Thomas Shea. The discussion focused on what Guam should be doing now that a pandemic has been declared by the World Health Organization and the government's efforts to prepare and its response thus far to COVID-19.
But I think towards the end there, short of declaring martial law, I think a better answer would probably be said that, hey, we should work together with the community clinics rather than saying we're going to take over all the clinics or your property, etc. Those kind of stuff doesn't really work. And especially with Gulf Guam, if they really want the community to work together, we need to make sure that we ensure that we have a collaboration rather than one-way street.
Adelup has issued the following statement. Early Wednesday evening, the Guam Department of Public Health announced that out of an abundance of caution, 2 individuals were being tested for COVID-19. On Thursday, results issued by DPHSS Guam Public Health Lab in Tumaning indicated that both returned negative for COVID-19. DPHSS was notified of 2 additional cases which presented March 12, 2020. These tests will also be administered by the DPHSS local lab. Here are some of your top comments. On Facebook, one user said, "What villages are these 4 people from here in Guam?" So locals can avoid going to these places if they are not from that village, or if they are living in those villages, to prepare ourselves to practice safety and avoid gatherings or further spread if confirmed. Top fan Mara Cruz said, "This is pretty scary and it's just disappointing for Guam not to be prepared. Thanks to our government who allowed people to continue traveling. Now we all know where the government of Guam's priorities are. It's always the people last as always. Please everyone be safe and take care." And top fan John Dalzell said, "The questionnaire seems silly as international travelers are coming to us. We don't have to visit locations of concern. They are coming to us every single day." 100% thermal screening of all arriving and departing passengers has now been launched. The airport has set up shooting stations as well as secondary screening areas in case there's a need for further evaluations. 4 thermal cameras have been deployed, operated by public health certified nurse assistants to screen arrivals as they enter the customs area, and for departing passengers here in the terminal lobby as they head upstairs to the TSA screening checkpoint. To be clear, says Airport Deputy Executive Manager John Kanata, the scanners do not detect the coronavirus. They are there to detect individual temperatures. The scanning will be done round the clock, and the airport says it's currently averaging about 24 flights per day, which translates to some 3,600 arriving and departing passengers. Here are some of your results. Top fan Victoria Chamberlain said, "What use is that when sometimes they wouldn't show symptoms anyway? They should all be quarantined for a set period which may occur within the time they arrive." And another Facebook user said, "I really think the nurses and screening employees should at least wear safety protection against the virus. You are the first in front of these travelers, meaning your health is at higher risk. Just my opinion, best be safe in advance." The Guam Police Department and local military officials investigate a riot that broke out early Sunday morning in the heart of Guam's tourism district. In a video capturing the commotion, a voice can be heard uttering, "Why do you guys hate each other? Stop hating each other." One of the witnesses to the early Sunday morning scrap was comedian Charlie Jr., who didn't hold back sharing his thoughts on social media.
"Come on, this is Guam, man. We are visitors here. We are visitors. Y'all need to learn how to act, man. They know y'all military."
The incident isn't a laughing matter. Police spokesperson Sergeant Paul Tapau says the riot is under investigation, adding that by the time police arrived, everyone was gone. Joint Region Mariana spokesperson Lieutenant Commander Rick Moore says JRM and Naval Criminal Investigation Services are looking into allegations those involved in the fight were active duty service members, adding, "Disorderly behavior is not consistent with DoD values or standards of conduct and is not representative of a majority of service members who conduct themselves appropriately while on liberty," he said. DoD command leadership continues to reinforce the importance of behavior on liberty and the standards of conduct all service members are expected to maintain both on and off duty. Commander Task Force 70 spokesperson Lieutenant Commander Sean Brophy says a curfew is currently in place for Carrier Air Wing 5 personnel. Brophy said the directive is limited to a 9 p.m. weekday curfew and 11:59 p.m. weekend curfew while in Guam for warfighting training exercises and operations. Here are some of your comments. Tyrone Phillips said, "Well said, sir. Respect the land on which you're visiting. Sincerely, the locals." Top fan Sherelle Jensen said, "Can't wait for the Marines to show up." And Jim Carter said, "They say everyone was gone by the time the police got there, and the police station is right down the street. LOL, that's a joke." And that's all for this week. Suzuis Maasi for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Guam's auto appearance specialist, Elegant Reflections, has been providing the automotive industry with professional detailing and car care products at its highest quality, from complete detailing, full interior detailing, exterior detailing, headlamp restoration, hand washing, seat and carpet shampoo, engine degreasing, undercarriage cleaning, paint sealant, fabric protection, paint oxidation removal, and so much more. Visit us at our new location. Call 646-5555 for an appointment. Elegant Reflections, Guam's auto appearance specialist, over 20 years of experience.
Half a day. Earlier this weekend, President Trump declared a national state of emergency under the Stafford Act, unleashing the full power of the federal government and making billions available in federal resources and equipment stockpiles. To access these resources and elevate our level of preparedness, I am declaring a public health emergency under the laws of Guam. But before I discuss that with you, you and your families deserve answers to 3 important questions. What is coronavirus and how is it spread? How will each potential or confirmed case be treated? And what actions can you take to protect you and your family? Addressing these questions effectively requires preparation, not panic. And the best way to fight that panic is with knowledge. Coronaviruses are a large group of viruses that can cause illness in animals and humans. Some coronaviruses frequently circulate in humans and cause mild symptoms of the common cold. According to the World Health Organization, just 5% of all coronavirus cases are critical. And while we can become infected with coronavirus, the elderly and those already sick with diabetes, heart disease, lung disease, and other serious chronic medical conditions are most vulnerable. Coronaviruses are most often spread through tiny droplets released during coughing or sneezing, through close personal contact, or through touching your nose, mouth, or eyes before washing your hands. Knowing this, Guam's pandemic plan has worked to keep Guam safe from day one. If you are sick and are concerned about COVID-19 infection, stay home and call your doctor. He or she will evaluate you over the phone, and you may be asked to go to the clinic for testing. We have test kits and can deliver results within 24 to 48 hours. If you test positive and your symptoms are mild, you will be asked to stay home, subject to monitoring by public health officials. Those needing isolation and hospitalization will be treated at the skilled nursing facility. The Guam Army National Guard will provide security and logistical support, and we are coordinating all of our efforts with the Department of Homeland Security, CDC, the White House, and others. Because travel of infected persons is one of the clearest methods coronavirus is spread, we took clear and decisive steps early. If there's a sick passenger on board a flight from an infected area, airlines will call our tower prior to landing. If the sick passenger meets criteria for a person under investigation, we activate a public health nurse and a Bureau of Communicable Disease staffer to the airport to conduct both a clinical and epidemiological assessment. Our airport and customs officials know and use the protocol. This screening occurs on every incoming flight. I also ordered the hiring of registered nurses, licensed practical nurses, and certified nurse aides to increase our presence and screening efforts. Many of them are on the job right now, operating thermal scanners and screening tourists throughout the airport. Quarantine areas have been designated at the airport since the start of the outbreak, and while self-quarantine is the recommended method, other contingencies for community quarantine are already in place. I've also ordered that all government travel in the executive branch be canceled, and I asked that our sister branches follow suit. If a government employee does travel on personal leave, I've asked all directors to insist that each employee self-quarantine for a minimum of 14 days. I urge everyone to do the same. If an individual test returns as presumptive positive, the lab result will be confirmed by a CDC lab as required by their criteria. That individual will remain in isolation, and those they came into close contact with will be monitored by public health. As COVID-19 moves throughout the world, other facts become more evident. The first is that government alone cannot contain this virus. Countries that lessened the impact of this pandemic implemented additional social distancing early. That means we need your help. While 80% of COVID-19 cases are mild or show no symptoms at all, Arman and sick are more vulnerable than others. If you fall into this group, stay home. Again, if you feel sick, regardless of age, don't risk infection or pass a potential infection to others. For this reason, I am asking all employers to allow those with flu-like symptoms to stay at or work from home without penalty for at least 14 days. I am also ordering the closure of all public senior centers by close of business Wednesday. If you are hosting a social event for 100 people or more, that event will also be canceled effective Wednesday at 5 p.m. These mandates will remain in place as necessary. I am your governor, but I am also a mother, a grandmother, and a nurse, and there isn't anything I wouldn't do to protect this island and our families. That said, I will use whatever legal authority I need to keep us safe, and I will not shrink from my responsibility to each of you. Finally, know this. This struggle is dynamic. By the time you hear this, some of the facts I presented to you may have changed, but we always work to give you the most accurate information we can. We do this as quickly as possible, provided experts in science, not social media, can confirm the information we provide. We won't get it right 100% of the time, no one does. But we continue to refine our processes, improving our plans to fight a global pandemic no one saw coming. All throughout my life, I knew that Guam was small, but the strength of its people was mighty. Our faith, our commitment to each other, our willingness to work together for the sake of everyone in our community made it so one generation grew stronger than the last. That is our choice amid this new threat. Let's not surrender to fear and panic. Let's draw from the deep well of hope and strength that has defined our people for generations. Be calm, stay informed, do your part, and trust that experts are working around the clock to protect us. Together, this is how we will keep Guam safe.
It makes myself and it makes my team members very proud to work for an organization that has been on island for many years with its focus on reliability, dependability, and commitment to the communities that they operate in.
Matson's a great corporate citizen to the community.
We all benefit from any sort of environmental commitment we make. One of the ways that we do that is with our Adahi Utano program. There's action behind it, and so action breeds commitment.
With the Kaimana Hila coming to Guam, this brings a new age and modernization to the island.
It's exciting for me because it's a brand new ship and we can carry more freight into the islands. It just shows growth for Guam and Micronesia.
Matson would be nothing without its customers, and we hope to continue to serve you for decades to come.
It's a celebration at Cars Plus Guam. During our Jeep celebration event, receive up to $2,000 off on the all-new 2020 Jeep Gladiator, the most capable off-road mid-size pickup truck. Customize your Gladiator the way you want it. Call 477-7807 or visit our website and get pre-approved online at carsplusguam.com today.
And before we close out the news tonight, our latest round of birthday shoutouts from the Cold Stone Creamery Birthday Club.
Weekend birthdays are always extra awesome, and so we say a very, very extra special happy birthday to Kekoa and Seani Mendiola. This husband and wife team celebrates their birthday this weekend. Kekoa was born on the 14th, and Seani was born on March 15th. That is awesome, and happy birthday from all of us, your friends, and your family. Have a great weekend. Lyric Devine McGill celebrates a birthday today, and happy birthday to Lyric, our beauty princess. God bless you for many more years of celebrations from the family who says we love you, precious. Aww. And Jacob and Javen Mesa have birthday number 3. To Jacob and Javen, we love you both so very much. That's on Saturday. And on Sunday the 15th, just Sherry Lee Duenas has a birthday today, so happy birthday to you. And a very, very proud wife is wishing her husband, Dennis Nakamoto, a happy birthday. Love always, she says, from your wife. And lastly, but certainly not least, happy birthday to Anthony Tornito, who has a birthday on Sunday. So we hope all of you have a fantastic weekend and fantastic birthday.
Remember, you can be part of the Cold Stone Creamery Birthday Club by registering online on KUAM.com. Please make sure to include with your photo your name and birthday. That's all the time we have from all of us here at Guam's News Network. Thanks for watching and have a safe weekend.
Closed captioning is brought to you by Green Energy Solutions, Inc. Visit GESIGuam.com or call 647-8111 for more details on how we can help your business save money.